Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo!
Yeah, folks, and today we got another special episode for you guys, and it's going to be another best of list, and we're going to be talking about the best film slashers, you know what I'm saying? And these are guys like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, man, Chucky, things of that nature. So we're going to be talking
about slashing tires.
Yeah, not in time. Slashing necks, backs, like whatever else is getting done here. So we're going to be talking about some of these characters from some of these great films, and I'm going to set it off with my guy Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this is a film that kind of escalated violence and tension, and it's a world-renowned classic, but I think the character Leatherface stands out here a lot as the film slasher, man. And interestingly enough, we get a group of teenagers or early 20s kids or whatever. It's hard to tell with these kind of films, but they get broken down on the road somewhere out in Texas. And Texas is huge, man. Texas is like 5 states,
Exactly.
Depending on the state. And they're in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden they encroach upon this twisted, demented family's property. And they're all kind of dangerous, but the most dangerous one here is Leatherface. And I think Leatherface is a really unique killer because he's someone that I think by today's terms we would call them special needs. The PC term, for that. And it's wild because we get the idea that there's butchering in this character's past, and we get like a demented version of that's also graduated from butchering livestock, for a living. I don't even know if this guy did it for a living. He probably seems like he did it for fun. I don't think he held down a regular job in his life because he's not able to function like that. He's heavily disfigured, almost has an inbred look and feel to him. I'm not sure the full background. Was he inbred? Was his pa his mom? Or something crazy like that? Or his Uncle Pa? Or Auntie Mama? I don't know, man. But for whatever reason, he's a big guy too, man. Big. Physically strong. Special needs strength.
Eloquently put. Eloquently put.
and he just wants to kill everyone that's not his direct family. In this particular film, man, he just goes about killing these kids, man, and in various means, man, butchering them. One of my favorite scenes in this was when he pulls out he comes up on this one kid, he opens the door and he's just standing there. This is the first time we see his full physical presence. He's got his work gear on, like the butcher's apron, and it's already stained, and he hits this kid in the head with like a hammer, like a mini sledgehammer, and boom, and just drags him in. And you would think it'd be cool if that hammer killed him. You would hope that killed you, but no, that's just to stun you. Then you go into this room and it's straight butchery, man. One of the craziest parts about this scene too, the scene that happens in, is he's about to butcher this one person. Somebody else he done busted in the head wakes up and he just lifts her up and throws her on the hook, and then goes back to doing this. I'm like, this is crazy.
He treats him just like they would treat, like you said, livestock in a butcher shop. And one of the most impactful things about this particular slasher is what you get at the beginning of the movie. It made him so much more fearful because they say that it's based on a true story because it was loosely based on Ed Gein, and they're talking about how they're robbing the graves and they're doing all this stuff. And when you can instill that into somebody's mind before you give them all of this vicious imagery of this menacing man that's the size of, I don't know, somebody's refrigerator. My God.
It's that the stalking slasher stuff I think is compressed in this film compared to other ones, but essentially he hunts down this whole crew and takes them out. That's all his intentions. I feel like in other films that process is more drawn out through the totality of the film, but when it happens in here, it's condensed, and then we get the one lone survivor that hers is even more drawn out. She's going to be killed eventually, but that part is even crazy, man. But also, I like this guy because, as a slasher, like, I don't like what he's doing, but the crazy part to me is that the family, they're fine with him. We know him. He knows them. There's a scene later on in one of the more modern sequels where he's chasing a victim, and the victim rolls up into like this. What was it like? It looked like a trailer, and they're just sitting in there. And he's at the door, and they're like, "Man, get out of here!" They're like, the family tells him, "Like, yo, go! Like you're not welcome here right now." And the crazy part is,
interrupted my show.
They're not offering any comfort to this victim. There's like, all right, you can come in here and chill for a minute, but you're gonna have to go back out there, and we ain't helping you. Like your fate is like it's so crazy that like he's a twisted killer, but also I feel like he has a support system with the family, even the sheriff, and then the whole town built around him. It's just wow. He's one of the crazy.
And one thing that really makes him menacing is that he totes a chainsaw.
Yes, yeah, that part too. That part too.
That's insane.
Man, that's one of the scariest things. That's one of the scariest.
Chainsaws are scary just because of what they are.
Yeah, they're scary when you just using them. You don't want that joint to kick back and like
exactly. He out there.
Yeah, man. Whew, crazy.
Leatherface.
Yeah, Leatherface.
My gracious. But you know, some slashers are so good at slashing that they create a franchise around them. They're so good that they get multiple sequels and even spawn TV series shows that are successful. So the slasher that I'm going to first start talking about is Charles Lee Ray, aka Chucky. And what makes him so unique and so just iconic is because as a 3-foot tall doll, he's a giant in the slasher genre. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, he's menacing. He's got this laugh, this sinister, like, and you know, where he was first introduced in 1988's Child's Play, and pretty much, he is the soul of the Lakeshore Strangler, and you know, in a police chase that just didn't go well. My man Charles Lee Ray, he ends up in a toy store, finds a plethora of good guy dolls, picks one, and you know, no 80s horror movie is good if it don't have voodoo in it. He does the voodoo curse, transfers his soul into the good guy doll, and that's what brings Chucky to life. And the thing that really works for this character is because he can just fly under the radar. It's like, just think of like what you get from Toy Story if it was rated R, if it was just real horror. Because, you know, once Chucky exposes himself to his victim, then you know he's alive, but no one's going to believe you, because if there's anyone else in the room, he's going to drop flat.
Yeah, I love the aspect that he could just go limp and just be like just post it up.
Or whatever it is he says, want to play or whatever, you know. And the thing about him is that, you know, he will kill anyone who is in his course path, and what is motivating him is to try and find a soul or a child that he can transfer his soul into that child. And it starts with Andy, because, you know, the origin of it all is that, you know, he has to, for him to be able to successfully transfer his soul now from the doll's body into a child's body, it has to be the first person that he exposed himself to that he was alive. So this was 6-year-old Andy. So he's chasing Andy all over the place, and in the first few films, I mean, he's killing. He's trying to kill cops. He's killing, you know, the mom's best friend, tossing her out the window. He's killing teachers. He'll kill kids. He'll kill cousins. He'll kill everybody with a knife, with whatever. He's a very vicious killer. And like I said, he's gonna laugh at you the whole time. And you wouldn't think that something so small is so strong, but you know, I don't know how that works out. But he's strong. But then the thing about it is that
like Ant-Man.
Yes, exactly. But the thing about it, as he progresses through the film dynamics, it's almost, you start to get a sense that he enjoys the body that he's in. He excels as the doll. He can create more mischief and catch.
He's definitely more powerful in that form, more deadly, I would say,
yes,
than if he switched to regular human.
Yes. So with all that being said, I mean, he is a very successful slasher because he is unassuming, and because he can just, like I said, he can get into any situation, and 95% of the time he is going to be brought through the threshold of any home by a child. So he is being carried by innocence. So of course adults are going to be unassuming. They're going to be unsuspecting of how malicious that he really is. But man, I remember One of the scenes that just makes me cringe every time I see it is in the second one when he's hiding under the staircase and the foster father is walking down the old school basement stairs that don't have no back, it's just steps, and he put the old school like Buzz knife that you used to carve a Thanksgiving turkey, and he cut his Achilles heel.
Oh yeah, that is.
And he
great.
Falls down the stairs. I mean, anything.
Anytime you cut Achilles in a movie, that's
just. It makes me just want to drop a single solitary tear for that individual.
Yeah,
but
man.
yes, Chucky, vicious, malicious. He said big things do come in small packages, and he is proof of that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick unconventional one for my next one, and I'm gonna be talking about 1987's Predator, and the Predator is definitely one that I would consider a slasher film villain because I think what makes these films, especially the early ones, even the more recent, you like Predator 1, Predator 2, and Prey, they're slasher films, man. Yes. We've got killers that are out here on the hunt, taking out their victims one by one, and this one is perfect. It sets it up. I mean, we're looking at the idea of it on paper sounds ridiculous, but I think this film excels with execution by John McTiernan. Shout out to him. And the execution is we've got an intergalactic big game hunter, and they come to Earth for a hunt, and I think I love the lore of that, man. That's just amazing to me that you do have a species that's their the highest thing in their society to do. They're hunters, man. That's what they live for. That's what their whole society is built around. They have their own morality built around it. They looking for the most dangerous prey, the most challenging prey. Try to spare innocence, as much as possible, but so there is a morality code to them. But when they run up on Schwarzenegger's squad in here, and he recognizes how tough and dangerous these guys are because they just pull off a crazy mission, which is wild. I do love that scene still when they take out that rebel camp. It's over the top because they don't even get a scratch on them for the most part, man. But then the Predator sees this and he's like, "Oh, these are the guys we're gonna hunt down," and this thing turns into like the ultimate slasher flick, man. Yes. I think people that hate on the general horror genre, I think they are just discouraged by the gore and all that shit. But if you love a film like Alien, you love a film like Predator, and there's some other things too that aren't conventional slasher flicks, then you've got to give props to the slasher genre in general because that's essentially what these are, man. And then you have the lone survivor, who in this case it's not a young woman like the 80s, in the 70s gave us. It's a commando, and I think that's even more makes this even more effective because you've got like an ultimate badass guy and he's even struggling, and it just gives you an indication of how dangerous these predators are. You know what I'm saying? Because if that was just a normal, let's say Michael Myers, I think Dutch could hold Michael Myers off a bit, yo. As long as Myers got no kitchen knife. Yeah, but I think that would be an interesting fight. I think Dutch could probably get away from that. But to show that this predator is giving Dutch even problems, that's crazy to me, man. And I think that what makes this Predator character one of my favorite slashers, because even you going into when they take it to an urban environment, you see even still how taking them out of the jungle and they're still able to use his skills and creep up on these people and show up in dangerous places and still get the slashing on, and
not for nothing, what separates and signifies the best of the best slashers is their artillery and their weapons. Mm-hmm. And the Predator has some of the best, most advanced weaponry. I'm able to cloak himself and be invisible. I mean, laser rifles, and I mean the spear thing that comes out of his hand. I mean, he is well equipped. Several things where anyone.
Chucky's got his knife, Mike got his knife, Freddy's got his claw, but the Predator has like variable things.
He's got a plethora. Yeah. He is the slasher version, like he's got the Desperado guitar case on his body.
Yeah, he's got a Swiss Army knife, yo. He's crazy, man.
And if all else fails, he'll blow up himself and everyone around. 20-mile radius.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the most inventive and crazy slashers that they've got out there.
Yes. So I'm going to bring up one of the queen of the slashers for my second, Miss Pamela Vorhees from 1980's Friday the 13th. And, one thing that I learned about this slasher is there is nothing more scary than a woman's scorn or a mother's rage, because she when she starts to execute her plans, she does it with precision. And what makes her great as a slasher is, as we navigate through the first, we'll say 70% of this film, we are thinking that we are watching a man do man killing, hurting all of these counselors for whatever reason. We don't know what the motivation is. We just know that they are real light on their feet. They can navigate through the woods effortlessly. They are a killer with a Bowie knife that cuts your throat. They got archery skills. I mean, pretty much, they earned all of their badges at whatever camp they went to as a youth. They were good. They were good with it, good at killing. And as the movie grows, when we first see Pamela walk up, she's got on the cool blue sweater. She's got the Colgate smile. The only thing missing is a freshly baked pie.
That sweater would go great with some like UNC blue J's.
Some J's? That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And she's out here. She's got the same look as the woman from Murder, She Wrote. You know what I'm saying? Which is
it's a Lansbury.
It's kind of like it's form fitting
with the knife.
The only difference is she ain't writing no murder, dog. She's committing them. So the thing is, like, when she comes up, she's like, she's a traditional mom. She's like, Alice, what's wrong? You're crying. Why are you so upset? And she's like, everyone's dead. They killing them. All the counselors is dead. And she's like, oh yeah? Well, tell me about it. Woo, very comforting. And then next thing you know, she starts having visions of her dead son, and then she starts hearing the voice of Jason telling her to kill him, and then she starts talking to him. Out comes the Bowie knife, and she's ready to go to work. And it's a solid one-on-one fight between Alice and Pamela Vorhees. I mean, Pamela Vorhees, there's this one part where she throws Alice down and she's laying the Ric Flair chop down on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, she comes through like Jack Torrance, busting through the barn door, smiling. I mean, she was really, really, really menacing.
It's scary because, no one's expecting a woman to come up on him and kill him, yo. Like, that's just the nature of what, especially you look at the era that this was made in.
Yes, in 1980. And the thing of it is that, the most impactful part about this is the reveal. Because, like I said, we were not expecting this. It's jaw-dropping. But then to see her execute this, and then it just makes you think, man, I see how she was able to do all of these other things, kill all these other people. And then, what really kind of just adds an extra intensity to this is because she is kind of being navigated by the voice of her dead son, Jason. And the only way to take her out is by cutting her head clean off. And, unlike other slashers who just can't die, she does, but she does reemerge in later films as a head. And she is also, as she passes the torch to her son, Jason, who we will bring up in later volumes, I'm sure. Another iconic slasher, but not today. It's a role reversal where in this one, she is driven by his voices. And then later on, he then in turn is driven by hers. So, her presence and, as a slasher, as a menacing mother that's just out for vengeance, and revenge is going to kill every camp counselor or anyone who steps foot in Camp Crystal Lake. The legacy is there. Pamela Vorhees. Watch out for that lady. She's dangerous, dog.
So my last one is going to be shout out to Candyman. Candyman, man. And Candyman was significant for slashers. He's probably one of the most well-known black slashers. I don't think there's many of them out there, from these kind of films. And he's also a supernatural slasher. And he's also a slasher that you've got to be bothering to really be threatened by, so it's kind of cool. I love how this story is a play on the old Bloody Mary game that we used to play in school. You go in the bathroom and or you cut the lights out and you say Bloody Mary 3 times. Man, we used to do that at school. Hit that light switch while somebody was at the urinal, blah, 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 and roll out of they must be coming in, pulling their pants up because it was just such a scary thing.
Yes.
So for them to make a film based off of this, I think Candyman, you got to say his name 5 times, which is crazy. But maybe that was a safeguard. So just by talking about him, you don't invoke him. But I love the setup of that. So and what ends up happening, I love the fact that he doesn't usually get you right away. No. It's like, you're like, oh, this don't work. The next thing you know, you chilling a couple hours later or a day or two later and you're minding your business, and all of a sudden, my man comes up, he's got a crazy hook for a hand, which is interesting, man. Like, I love when the slasher has a tortured background, and I think he qualifies as this, man, because, you feel bad for the victims a little bit, but his origin makes him a little bit sympathetic. He was a slave, and he was an artistic slave, and he ended up getting involved with one of these slave owners' daughter, who commissioned him to do some work for them, and they found out and they tortured him to death. Covered him in bees and honey, and cut off his drawing arm that he used to write, which ends up being replaced with like a hook, like a dock worker's hook. When he comes back, when he manifests as this ghost, and it's crazy, man. I really love it though, because like I said, man, you don't that the way this film's set up, there's a legend, there's a person investigating it, and they get caught up in it and end up invoking him, but then it becomes a thing where everyone she encounters about it, they're skeptics about it, and they're just joking, oh Candyman, saying the name, and then he pops up and it starts taking these people out, and what's crazy about it, it's like a gruesome death, yo. It looks painful. It don't look like man, like the slasher deaths, like they kind of trip me out because they are the worst. Like if you just showed up and shot me in the head, I was like, all right, it's gonna suck. I ain't living no more. But at least it's quick and it's painless. But these, man,
don't cut my stomach and then pull my intestines out and jump rope
and
with
be
it,
poking it and jiggling in it. Like
I'm gonna cut you in the armpit and watch you bleed.
Not only am I stabbing you, but I'm twisting it and like
they are vicious, maiming individuals.
It's crazy, man. But I think he's one of the more interesting slashers. Like I said, man, that supernatural element. It reminds me of people like Pinhead, and later on we get Freddy Krueger, who has a similar kind of supernatural origin where there's only a certain plane that you can engage them on. And but Candyman, like I said, I find it interesting that you've got to provoke him, you've got to invoke him to cause harm in your life. He's not taken out. Maybe. No, you know what? I was thinking about that. Remember in the Candyman where the friend, the black chick, she gets taken out, and she was right there with homegirl doing this shit in the mirror too. But it's like,
and that's the thing about Candyman too, is like you said, you have to invoke him. But with this particular individual, he starts to have a crush on her. He's like trying to get that old thing back. Like he starts getting
that
feelings
too,
of her the same as he had back when
she reminds him of the woman that he lost his life for.
In turn, what he's doing is that he wants to kind of like make everybody in our world feel like she's the one who's doing all the killing. He's almost like using her as a puppet.
Because if she dies, she gets closer to joining him. Because now that I remember that her boss, he didn't say the Candyman stuff, and he got.
Yeah, my man was waiting for him in the car garage.
He just didn't believe it. He just didn't believe it, and I was but I love this guy, man. It's an interesting setup, and I love when the slashers are also built upon lore that we've already got in real life. Like I said, like the Bloody Mary story. So this is a cool one, man. Candyman OG.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out with Michael Myers, the original boogeyman. This is the man, the myth, the legend, the reason why when you walk in a dark room, you cut the lights on, why you peek around corners, why if some weird station wagon's driving behind you for too long, you just got to pull over and be like, man, who's following me? I mean, he is the one who created nightmares for a lot of people in the 70s, and understandably so, man. He was first brought to life in Halloween's 1978, and of course, he is another franchise slasher, laundry list of sequels, remakes, and things have been made in his in respect of his slashing abilities. But one of the things that really separated him from other slashers, especially in this time, was he wore the mask. He made wearing a mask iconic. He was one of the first, if not the first, to do it, to make a mask part of his image, part of his fear factor. And he was a firm believer of that keep it in the family vibe, because he just really wanted to sever his bloodlines. Like his hatred for his bloodline is really what manifested him into being the creature that he became. And he would kill anyone in the town, anyone around, if you stood in his way. And what really made him so menacing is, like Leatherface, big in size and stature, extremely strong.
That mother walk with like a soft walk though,
yes,
boy. Like
very light on his feet. I ain't never seen nobody.
I feel like he got cotton on the bottom of his shoes or something,
I ain't never
bro.
seen nobody in construction boots not make no sound when they walking. Bro. But you know what I'm saying? But he was real good at what he did, and very sadistic with it, and very kind of like, he was a stalker for real. And like he was the one where, when it came to stalking, I can't remember Jamie Lee Curtis's name that was the last person.
It was Laura. I think
Laurie Strode. There you go, Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
When it came to her, like at this point in time, he felt like if he takes her out, then he might just go crawl in a hole somewhere and not bother nobody no more. But because he couldn't get to her, as time progressed, he just continuously wanted to. So he would stop at nothing to take her out or anyone who got in his way. I mean, and he would kill you in the most vicious of ways. His preferred weapon of choice was an oversized kitchen knife, but he'd kill you with his bare hands. He'd kill you with axes, butcher knives. He'd throw you out a window, hit you with a car, whatever the case may be. I mean, he was just a cutthroat killer. And the thing is about him is that you couldn't kill him.
Yeah, he's gonna die, bro.
Die. Because he was just, they said that he was a manifestation of pure evil. You know what I'm saying? And yet again, I bring it back to The Mask. What really...
It's a weird one to me because like everything else seems just normal, but for some reason I always felt like he had a supernatural element to him.
He did.
And that gives him makes him do what he does and makes him able to survive, so many attempts to finish him off.
And bringing it back to The Mask, another thing that really exemplified that is the dark eye holes. It made it seem like there was not a human face underneath this mask, that the mask was the presentation of him. And, I think that, with him being one of the earliest versions of the slashers, and then, with the film, kind of taking the liberties to give us the POV looks through the eye holes and everything. Of course, this was done after seeing Black Christmas. That was the first film to do this. But then Carpenter took that and kind of made it more of a household thing, made it more highly recognized, and it really works for this character dynamic. And Michael Myers, man, if there was a Mount Rushmore of slashers, I'm sure he would be on 99.9% of everybody's slasher Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the OGs, man. Yeah, I think that's it, folks, man. Hopefully you enjoyed this little collaboration or this little compilation, of slashers. I think we'll definitely revisit this category. This is one we could dip into a few times just because of the amount of these type of films that are out there. But that's it, folks, man. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Classes of Cinematics. Subscribe to the channel, like it. Check out some merch below, help us out, buy something, even if you just get a sticker, man, all that stuff helps. And this is Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram.
And this Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me on this show or other show or other film review show.
All right, y'all, we out of here.